Picture this, you're navigating the twists and turns of life abroad, but in the back of your mind, there is always that connection to your roots. Now, whether it's trying to understand the complex legalities or nagging uncertainty about your parents' safety back home, every NRI has a unique tale to tell. And you're not alone. NRIs all over the world face similar challenges, whether it's wrapping your head around property deals, figuring out the nitty-gritty of cross-border investments, or just seeking some peace of mind for your loved ones. That's why in today's video, we will discuss the 3 key laws, explore 5 essential legal advice, discuss questions to ask before hiring Indian lawyers, and a bonus section on navigating legal fees. Let's start with the 3 key laws that shape every NRI's journey. Understanding laws such as the Income Tax Law, the Aadhaar Act, and FEMA are essential for NRIs. Each law plays a pivotal role in governing different financial and legal landscapes, contributing to NRIs' overall financial well-being and regulatory compliance. Let's begin this section with the Income Tax Law. Income tax is a charge imposed on annual earnings of individuals or businesses within a financial year. Regulated by the Income Tax Act of 1961, this framework lays down the guidelines for calculating, assessing, and collecting income tax in India. All taxpayers must submit an annual income tax return within a specified deadline to report income and potentially claim a tax refund. Before we understand why it's so important, there are 2 terms that you need to understand. First, the Income Tax Act of 1961. This act outlines the rules, regulations, rights and duties of taxpayers and also specifies the responsibilities of the Income Tax Department. Second is the Income Tax Return or ITR, which is a mandatory document that shows taxpayers' income earned during a financial year and the corresponding tax liabilities. Filing the tax return annually is a requirement under Section 139 of the Income Tax Act 1961. Now, why does all of this matter? Because it plays a crucial role in achieving several economic goals like stabilizing prices, promoting employment, controlling cyclical fluctuations, and foreign assets reporting, among other such goals. As for your status, resident, non-resident, ordinary resident, not ordinary resident, it's like a whole maze. Let me help you understand this. Under Indian tax laws, the taxation scope varies based on the residential status of NRIs. Now let's say if your status falls under resident and ordinary residents, the tax is on global income regardless of its source or location. For resident but not ordinary residents, Indian tax applies to income from Indian sources including businesses or professional setup in India. If you're a non-resident, the tax is levied solely on income accruing or arising or received from Indian sources. You can check this table to get a better understanding of your taxable income type. Check out this video which might help you dot some common mistakes made by NRIs. On to the second key law, FEMA. The Foreign Exchange Management Act took over from the Foreign Exchange Regulation Act or FERA in 1999. FEMA is like the traffic police for foreign currency that ensures smooth facilitation of external trade and payments. Here are the 5 key FEMA regulations that you must follow. First, bank accounts for NRIs. Upon transitioning from a resident to an NRI status, you must adhere to specific formalities regarding your savings accounts. FEMA rules prohibit NRIs from holding regular savings bank accounts. Instead, they are required to open either an NRO or an NRE account as mandated by the Reserve Bank of India. Now, before we move further, let's understand what NRE or NRO accounts are. A non-resident external or NRE account is for holding foreign earnings in Indian rupees, fully repatriable with no Indian taxes. On the other hand, a non-resident ordinary or NRO account manages income earned within India with repatriation restrictions and subject to Indian taxes. If you're curious about how to turn your regular savings into an NRO account, check out this video. Moving forward, investment avenues. NRIs enjoy unlimited investment options, both repatriable and non-repatriable. However, FEMA regulations restrict them from investing in government small savings or PPF schemes. Finally, repatriation of earnings. NRIs can repatriate foreign currency, especially earnings from overseas immovable assets like rent. However, the sale proceeds of such assets are non-repatriable without RBI's approval. If you've inherited or retired from employment in India, FEMA allows repatriation of up to $1 million per financial year. And finally, the third key law, Aadhaar Act. Under the Aadhaar Act of 2016, individuals qualifying as resident Indians are eligible for an Aadhaar card. A resident per the Aadhaar Act resides in India for a total period of 182 days or more within the last 12 months. For all the details on how to get an Aadhaar card as an NRI and the documents required, you can check out this video. Now that you have a brief idea about the laws governing taxes and transactions for NRIs, let's explore the 5 essential legal advice for non-resident Indians. Firstly, why should NRIs consider legal advice? Wait, what does legal advice even mean? Legal advice is guidance from qualified professionals including lawyers, CAs or subject matter experts. For example, as an NRI, if you're dealing with inheritance complexities or considering starting a business in India, seeking guidance from a relevant expert ensures you make informed decisions. Living abroad is like playing a global game of chess, but instead of moving pieces, you're dealing with property, finances, business laws, and much more. And trust me, each country has its own rule book. That's where legal advice steps in. A must to safeguard your investments, transactions, and assets. So let's start things off with property matters. Imagine this amazing deal. A 2-bedroom hall kitchen apartment in New Cochin for just 7.99 lakh rupees plus an 80% home loan thrown in. Sounds very tempting, right? Well, residents, including NRIs too, thought so. Unfortunately, it turned out to be a colossal property scam. Various newspaper reports suggest investors lost close to 1,000 crore rupees. The culprit? An online ad by Kerala-based developer Apple a Day promised affordable villas and apartments in Cochin. Now, why do NRIs often find themselves in land disputes? Well, they're not physically there, making them the prime targets. And this shouldn't stop you from buying or selling property in India. This is exactly where legal advice helps you understand the complexities as well as prevent you from any potential scams, especially when you're unfamiliar with the norms and even the laws of the region. But how do you avoid these scams? What kind of verification do you need to stay protected from such frauds? The solution is staying informed. This is exactly what we will do. Now, whether you're buying or selling property as an NRI, you must verify these essential documents. First is registered power of attorney. When dealing with a seller who is not the actual owner, caution is your best friend, guys, especially when the seller holds a power of attorney to sell. This is where you have to check if the POA is not just notarized but registered, because a notarized POA is not legally valid in India. Also, it's wise to inquire about the reasons for the POA, the POA's authenticity, and whether there's any drama between the owner and the POA holder. Second, resale property. For a smooth resale property buy, collect the encumbrance certificate from the sub-registrar's office. An encumbrance certificate will give information on the previous owner and check the property title. Third, RERA registration. If you're planning to purchase a flat or property deal with a developer, check whether the project is registered under RERA, because RERA compliance gives an assurance of transparency and protection as a buyer. Fourth is no objection certificate. When dealing with properties in societies, as a buyer, you must always check whether the seller has the NOC from relevant authorities. Now, this might feel like a lot to take in, but I'm sure you have more questions about property-related transactions and various other matters. Check the linked videos in the description box for detailed guides on all property-related matters. Moving on to the next legal advice, which is business and investment laws. In this section, we're going to explore the laws that not only govern, but also empower your business endeavors in India. The first law in this section is no solo company. In the Indian business landscape, going solo is a possibility, but with a condition for NRIs. The new Companies Act of 2013 introduced the one-person company concept. Unfortunately, this means NRIs, PIOs, and foreign nationals can form this type if they have a resident Indian as a designated partner. As you can see in the image, 3 types of companies can be formed based on the Companies Act of 2013. So let me give you a brief idea of its types. First is Limited Liability Partnership or LLP, where the government allows foreign direct investment or FDI through LLPs. However, you will need at least 2 designated partners, with one being a resident Indian. Second is Private Limited Company, which requires a minimum shareholder of 2 and 2 directors to run the company. Third is Public Limited Company, which is formed of 7 shareholders and 3 directors. The second law is Work Address. Incorporated bodies hold the flexibility to invest as partners or shareholders as designated partners or directors. Before you Google the meaning of incorporated bodies, let me explain this with an example. Now picture this. As an NRI, you want to start a business in India. Instead of running it solely, you decide to form a company. Now this company has become an incorporated body. It's like giving your business its own legal identity. As the owner, you can then choose to invest in the company, not just as the boss, but also as a designated partner or director. This flexibility allows you to structure your involvement, be a partner, share responsibilities, or act as a director making key decisions. So in short, when we talked about incorporated bodies, we are essentially talking about businesses which have a legal existence separate from their owners. It's like giving your business its own identity and flexibility on how you as the owner just want to be a part of it. Remember, for this incorporation journey, showing a physical address in India is a must. Even office address proof, like a sale deed or rent agreement, etc., if necessary. If you're eyeing a leased office space, a no objection certificate from the premise owner is a must. If you're hesitant about the idea of a physical office, a virtual presence in India is also an option for you. However, note that businesses opting for virtual offices must strictly adhere to Indian laws concerning taxes, registration, and compliance. You can check this image to understand the Indian laws and regulations governing virtual offices. The third law is investment approvals. When it comes to foreign direct investment in a limited liability partnership, securing approval from the Reserve Bank of India is a must. However, for private or public limited companies, approvals are typically necessary only where required. In many sectors and within specified limits, FDI into companies follows the automatic route, streamlining the investment process. Now on to the next legal advice: banking and financial regulations. Stepping into a new region as an NRI brings out not just excitement, but also a host of legal matters surrounding your finances. Today we'll talk about anti-money laundering and know your customer regulations. Think of AML and KYC as your financial guardians, ensuring your hard-earned money remains secure. First, let's talk about KYC or Know Your Customer, which is a crucial process for institutions to verify the legitimacy of a customer before allowing financial transaction. Think of it as the first line of defense against illegal activities like money laundering or fraud. It involves submitting essential documents such as your passport, your visa, PAN card, Aadhaar card, photograph, and even a residence permit, all mandated by the RBI. Now let's dive into why this is a crucial step within the broader framework of anti-money laundering or AML requirements. Money laundering is the process of concealing the origins of illegally obtained money to make it look clean and legitimate. Anti-money laundering is a set of measures designed to detect and to prevent such activities from taking place, safeguarding against financial crimes and maintaining transparency in the global financial landscape. These two concepts go hand in hand because AML is the defense against the techniques used in money laundering. The big question here is, what does the law say? The key legislation governing AML efforts in India is the Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002 or PMLA and its subsequent amendments. Under this framework, NRIs benefit from the following measures. First is prevention and prosecution. The PMLA establishes a robust framework for preventing, detecting, and prosecuting money laundering offences involving NRIs. Number 2 is KYC procedures. Strict KYC rules apply to NRIs, with reporting entities like banks and financial institutions flagging any suspicious transactions to the India Financial Intelligence Unit. Third, transaction reporting obligations. NRIs have specific reporting obligations for transactions, ensuring a vigilant monitoring of all the potential illicit activities. Fourth is enforcement powers. Agencies like the Enforcement Directorate or ED fight money laundering, safeguarding NRIs and upholding AML measures. Now, if you're ever suspected of money laundering or come across something fishy, here's the game plan. Act swiftly, collect evidence, reach out to local authorities or financial agencies. Be a team player in investigations and get a legal advisor. The fourth legal advice we will be exploring is insurance. Before becoming an NRI, you got an insurance policy back in India. It felt like a smart move, security for your family and assets. But now, you're in a foreign land. You face a situation where your insurance is not as helpful as you thought. The policy's fine print makes it hard to get the support you need. Or you must have read headlines like this. With the rise of digitization, even insurers face challenges in detecting frauds. As a policy buyer, it's crucial to stay vigilant during the payment process. If you suspect a counterfeit policy, take legal action. Based on the fraud's nature, report it to the cyber cell or law enforcement authorities. But the main question here is, how can you prevent such insurance fraud? First, read the fine print. Before purchasing an insurance plan, take a moment to read through the fine print. Once you receive the policy document, cross-refer it to check all the features, benefits and terms, whether they align with what was explained during your purchase or not. However, if any uncertainties arise about any policy terms or local regulations, it's wise to seek the guidance of a legal professional before finalizing your purchase. Second, ask for ID proof. Insurance agents, as per the IRDAI rules, should be well trained and carry proper identification. Third, never pay in cash. A genuine and authorized insurance agent will not request cash payments or your financial details. Fourth, be careful with public transactions. When making financial transactions from cyber cafes or public networks, exercise caution. These environments may expose your details to potential fraud. Avoid saving passwords on public computers and always log out of all your accounts. The next legal advice is related to legal documents. Legal documents for NRIs act as a script to safeguard their stories in the homeland. Whether it's a POA as the main character guiding decisions from afar, or a will directing assets according to your narrative. What about a gift deed? This legal document ensures that your gesture is not just a casual gift, but a well-documented and meaningful transfer. Before you say it, the answer is no. These are not the only documents that NRIs require, but these are the common legal documents that NRIs must know about. Each document plays a unique role, contributing to the complex legal factors and offering security, control, as well as peace of mind. That's why let me know in the comments about a document you didn't know NRIs must have. While you do that, we move on to the first legal document, which is POA. Imagine you're an NRI living miles away from your home country. Handling property, finances, and even legal matters becomes quite the challenge when you cannot physically be there for every decision, right? That is where a POA comes in. Now, this document allows you to appoint a trusted representative, be it a family member or a friend, to act on your behalf. So what can a POA do for you? Well, it's quite versatile. This document can handle property deals, financial tasks, and even legal matters. Even in business deals and healthcare decisions, this document can act as your representative. But hold on, not all POAs are the same. Mostly general and specific POAs are used. Specific ones are further categorized based on their scope, like financial POAs, specifically for money matters. However, a general POA grants broad authority to make any decisions or take any legal actions on behalf of the NRI. Quite powerful, right? Now, what if your POA representative misuses their power? This is where you can withdraw their power, file a complaint, or get help from a legal advisor. And lastly, remember, creating a POA is not a DIY project. Skip the online templates and software shortcuts. Seek professional help, maybe a legal expert, to make sure that your POA is foolproof and does exactly what you need it to do. The second document is will. Imagine Mr. Patel, an NRI who has saved assets, properties, financial savings over the years. Concerned about his loved one's future, Mr. Patel decides to create a will. In this legal document, he specifies his residential property to his daughter, financial investments to his son, and a portion of his savings to a charitable organization. He also designates a trusted member as the executor, ensuring his wishes are carried out. In this scenario, Mr. Patel's will acts as a legal document, providing clear instructions on how his estate should be distributed. Without a will, the distribution might be subject to legal complexities. Now, the will ensures that his assets are managed as per his intentions, offering him peace of mind and clarity for his family as well as his beneficiaries. Now, what if Mr. Patel has movable or immovable properties abroad? Does he need to create only one will or country-specific wills? Certainly, it is highly advisable, though not mandatory, to create separate wills for each country where you own movable or immovable property. This takes care of the local laws and regulations specific to inheritance. In some countries, property distribution is subject to fixed ratios or treated as community property. Therefore, you must follow the local laws in preparing the will, get it registered with the authorities, and then provide a copy to the local Indian embassy. You can also register a master will in India with a property list and create separate wills for each country for efficient execution. If a country mandates separate wills for NRIs or perhaps imposes inheritance taxes, then also it makes sense for you to make a separate will for properties located there, saving your legal heirs from paying unnecessary tax.